What if there was a way to invest in real estate without dealing with tenants or property management? In this video, I'm revealing how mortgage investment corporations let ordinary Canadians earn 6 to 12% annual returns from real estate lending, and the crucial information most YouTube videos aren't telling you. I've been in the industry for nearly 20 years. I've seen how MICs can transform investment portfolios when properly understood. I've recently done some research. You'll learn exactly how they work, their tax advantages, regulatory oversight, realistic returns, and the hidden risks that could cost you thousands. Stay tuned for all 5 crucial components you need to know. Have you ever wondered how some investors make money from real estate without owning a single property? I sure did. When I first heard about mortgage investment corporations a while back, I was immediately intrigued by this unique Canadian investment vehicle. MICs have actually been around since the 1970s, created under the Residential Mortgage Financing Act specifically to help everyday Canadians participate in mortgage investments. This innovation opened doors to regular investors seeking alternative income streams. What exactly is a MIC? Think of it like a financial pool where different investors contribute their funds. This collective resource then provides mortgage loans, primarily to borrowers who don't meet strict criteria of traditional banks. The structure is brilliantly simple but powerful. What makes this framework particularly valuable is how MICs follow specific regulations under the Income Tax Act of Canada to maintain their special status. These rules create important protections for investors while delivering unique benefits. The fundamental distinction between MICs and REITs is that MICs own the mortgages, not the actual properties. As an investor, you position yourself as the bank. You're the lender, avoiding the headaches of being a landlord dealing with tenants and property maintenance. The key requirement ensuring proper diversification is that MICs must maintain at least 20 shareholders, with no single person owning more than 25% of the shares. This prevents any one investor from controlling the entire operation and helps distribute risk across multiple participants. Perhaps the most compelling advantage is the tax treatment. MICs operate as flow-through investment vehicles, which means they avoid corporation tax by distributing all of their income to shareholders. This creates significant tax efficiency that's hard to find elsewhere in the real estate investment space. For investors seeking passive income with real estate exposure, this tax advantage alone makes MICs worth considering. Beyond tax advantages, MICs operate in a fascinating gray area of the lending world where traditional banks fear to tread. When I did more reading under this topic, I revealed something surprising about these rejected borrowers. They're often solid risks who simply don't fit conventional criteria. Consider Mark, a successful contractor with excellent assets but irregular income. When he needed quick financing for a property flip, banks turned him away despite his strong financial position. A MIC provides his solution, charging 12% interest instead of the bank's 5%. Mark gladly accepted this because the opportunity's potential return justified the higher cost. MICs charge these premium rates typically between 8 to 14% compared to conventional bank rates of 4 to 6%. This substantial premium compensates for the increased risk and specialized underwriting these loans require. MICs protect their investors through conservative loan-to-value ratios, usually around 75%. This creates a substantial equity cushion if foreclosure becomes necessary. Think of it like running your own specialized lending institution rather than simply owning property. You're making strategic financial decisions based on security and returns. The operational mechanics work efficiently. Borrowers make mortgage payments to MIC, MIC pays its expenses, remaining profits flow to shareholders as dividends. Clean, simple, effective. Diversification within the MIC itself adds another protection layer. Many MICs spread risk across various mortgage types. Some focus exclusively on first mortgages for lower risk. Others include commercial properties, construction loans, and second mortgages in their portfolio mix. MICs maintain varying risk tolerances. Conservative ones keep loan-to-value ratios as low as 60% for maximum security. More aggressive MICs push up to 85% for potential higher returns. This spectrum allows investors to choose MICs that align with their personal risk tolerance. It may be beneficial for a MIC owner to open two types of funds, where Fund 1 is more conservative and Fund 2 is more aggressive, so their investors have options. Investors can then choose either one or both to invest in. By becoming a banker instead of the landlord, investors tap into higher yields while maintaining significant protection barriers against default. The risk profile is only part of the MIC story. What most people don't realize is that these investment vehicles can actually fit inside your existing registered accounts. That's right, the same tax shelter you use for stocks and bonds can house these real estate-backed investments, potentially transforming how your retirement savings perform. Some MICs qualify as eligible investments under the Canadian Income Tax Act for RRSPs, RRIFs, TFSAs, RESPs, and even RDSPs. This accessibility extends beyond tax advantages. While purchasing property directly might require hundreds of thousands in capital, many MICs open their doors to investors with as little as $5,000, and the funds are typically locked in for a one-year term. This lower barrier makes Canadian lending accessible to everyday Canadians who may not have the substantial funds needed to purchase property outright. Many MICs distribute their earnings to shareholders frequently, monthly or quarterly income payments depending on the specific fund chosen. Consider Sarah, who invested $50,000 in a MIC that pays monthly distributions. She receives approximately $400 each month, creating a reliable income stream she needs to supplement her pension. It's like receiving a regular paycheck. The hands-off nature of MIC investing provides both financial efficiency and management ease. When you invest in a MIC, professional managers handle all aspects of mortgage lending, sourcing borrowers, assessing properties, managing paperwork, and handling collections when necessary. This expertise comes particularly valuable in specialized lending solutions where risk assessment requires significant experience. Moreover, the built-in diversification aspect of MICs provide another layer of protection that direct property ownerships cannot match. Consider this: investing $100,000 in a MIC might spread your capital across 20 to 30 different mortgages in various locations and property types. If one $300,000 mortgage defaults, you're only exposed to about $3,000 to $5,000 of that risk, compared to having your entire $100,000 tied up in a single rental property's performance. But perhaps the most intriguing is how MICs grant everyday investors access to the private lending market, a lucrative space typically reserved for wealthy individuals and individual investors. This exclusive arena often yields returns that significantly outperform traditional fixed income investments, making MICs an attractive alternative in today's environment. For investors who appreciate the stability of real estate but don't want property management headaches, MICs offer an intriguing middle ground. You're essentially becoming the bank rather than the landlord, capturing interest payments instead of rent, without worrying about vacancies, repairs, or difficult tenants. Unlike banks that answers to federal regulators, the MIC industry operates under a patchwork of provincial oversight that most investors never fully comprehend. This regulatory landscape creates a fascinating paradox where MICs maintain enough flexibility to generate attractive returns while still providing critical investor protections. When you invest in a MIC, your money falls under the watchful eye of provincial securities commissions. In Ontario, the Ontario Securities Commission, also known as the OSC, takes the lead, while other provinces have their own regulatory bodies. This regulatory quilt means requirements can vary depending on where the MIC operates, the complexity that affects the risk profile of your investment. Most MICs raise capital through the offering memorandum exemption. This allows them to bypass the expensive full prospectus process, but still requires detailed disclosure to potential investors. The offering memorandum outlines the MIC's financial health, management team structure, and investment risks. For any MIC raising money from non-accredited investor, this document is mandatory. The Income Tax Act further shapes investor protection by constraining what MICs can do with your money. Working together with security regulations, these rules create boundaries for MIC operations. For instance, a MIC can invest up to 25% of its assets directly in real estate, but is explicitly forbidden from developing land or engaging in construction. This restriction keeps MICs focused on mortgage lending rather than speculative development. Behind the scenes, MICs must maintain comprehensive reporting systems, detailed shareholder records, and meeting ongoing obligations to various regulatory bodies, including the OSC and Canada Revenue Agency. These requirements include filing annual financial statements, tax returns, and compliance documents, creating layers of accountability that protect your investment. While these regulatory requires operational costs, they serve as essential safeguards for investors who aren't directly involved in day-to-day operations, ensuring transparency and proper governance throughout the investment lifecycle. However, beyond all the regulatory details lies the question that keeps me awake at night. Are those advertised 8 to 12% returns actually realistic, or just clever marketing to attract investors? After digging through some historical performance data, I discovered a more nuanced reality. Returns fluctuate significantly based on economic conditions and a MIC's specific strategy. During stable housing markets, well-managed MICs have consistently delivered within that 6 to 12% range, but there's an enormous variation worth understanding. Conservative MICs focusing exclusively on first mortgages with lower loan-to-value ratio typically generate 6 to 8% annually. These returns have proven remarkably stable even during market turbulence, offering protection when markets decline. Management quality makes all the difference. During the 2008 financial crisis, some MICs experienced substantial losses while others maintained positive returns throughout. This historical stress test reviews the critical importance of a MIC's risk management approach and portfolio composition. Management fees represent a factor that investors frequently overlook. Standard industry practice involves 1 to 2% management fee, but some MICs charge additional performance fees that erode investor returns. Always calculate the net return after all fees rather than just focusing on a headline number. Interest rate fluctuations create another layer of complexity. Rising rates initially benefit MICs as they issue new mortgages at higher yields, though this advantage can diminish if borrower default rates increase. MICs with shorter-term lending strategies adapt more quickly by adjusting lending rates to match market conditions. The risk-reward relationship becomes evident when comparing different MICs portfolios. Those heavily invested in second mortgages or construction financing might advertise returns approaching 12%, but they take on substantially higher default risk. The loan-to-value ratio provides clear signal of risk appetite. Lower ratio indicates more conservative approaches with greater protection against property value declines. Finally, due diligence is your best protection as an investor. Before committing capital, examine the MIC's portfolio composition closely. Their investment in high-risk second mortgages, loan-to-value ratios, regional market concentration, and default rates. Scrutinize the management team's experience and track record. These professionals directly impact your returns. Understand the fee structure completely. Unreasonable fees often signal problems. Your personal risk tolerance and financial goals should guide portfolio allocation decisions, ideally input from a qualified advisor. I hope this information helps shed light on this topic. Let me know if I've missed anything else in my research. On a side note, I'm actually going to be launching my MIC soon. To join in our adventure, sign up on our VIP list in the description below. Because even during tough times, persistence matters. It's not about timing the market, it's all about time in the market. In this next video, I explain about the US-Canada tariff situation as it comes at such bad timing in the real estate market.